Welcome to a show about things you can see without going far, and a lot of them are free. If you thought there was nothing in the old heartland, you ought to hit the blacktop with these fools in a van. Look out, they're driving hard, checking out art in their own backyard. Randy does the steering so he won't hurl. Mike's got the map, such a man of the world. That's Don with the camera, kinda heavy on his shoulder. And that giant ball of tape, it's a world record holder. Look out, they're driving hard, checking out art in their own backyard. Look out, they're driving hard, checking out the world in their own backyard. Checking out the world in their own backyard.
Bud, you want to come in? And would you like a cup of coffee?
Dear TV Mailbag, do these guys have it easy or what? Hi, Don the cameraman here, and I too am enjoying the hospitality of Mark Nagus at his home in Blue Springs. The art Mark makes takes different forms: paintings, prints, the occasional image burned into wood. But what's got him in places like the American Visionary Museum in Baltimore is simplicity itself. Carvings, and not the kind you learn to make at Silver Dollar City.
No, I just went out back here on the stairs about 20 years ago and picked up a stick and decided to see what I could do with it and started carving. That's where it came from.
The apple tree, your first choice when you're thinking about things?
I like the apple wood. All fruit woods are a harder wood, and I don't know, it's real pleasant to carve in. This little piece is called Faith in a Seed. When you go deep in the woods in the fall, sometimes you'll hear this noise. That's an acorn dropping. A lot of my stuff comes out of readings, and they'll come out of history or legend or folklore, different things like that. This is a little ring jar. Hattie Green, she lived on the streets. When they went into her little room after she died, they found millions.
Oh, was this a tree sloth?
Yeah, right.
It kind of climbs.
I never do the same thing twice. Each one is unique. You know, you see something in your mind's eye, and you want to bring that to pass, and you go for it. Sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. It'll just be a little spoon.
Considerably more delicate than a lot of things we've been seeing, and I guess that would include the haven of hammers that we're headed for next.
We're all loaded up.
It's in Norborn, which means we've got some springtime driving to do on a route that takes us through places like Lexington, where a Civil War battle was furiously fought, and if you have any doubts about how furious the fighting was, just look at the top of the courthouse.
Kind of a similar theme going?
Yeah.
Great Balls of Lexington.
It is a pretty and historic little town sitting right next to a pretty old bridge over the Missouri River. Maybe that's why Mike popped out a pretty provocative question.
So you think when we're in Iowa, we could maybe veer off into Minnesota?
It's a long ways, Mike. I mean, long ways.
It wasn't like a mutiny or anything, but for the next few miles there were two tense TV weasels up front. So it's a good thing our next stop could lighten things up a little. After all, Glenn and Judy Albrecht are about the happiest people we ever met. Soybean king and queen of 1983 and proud owners of a hell of a lot of hammers.
This is it.
Oh my. Oh my. Hello.
I told you you'd be surprised.
Oh, hello. And you put every one of these up here?
Yeah.
You tracked every one of these down?
Yep.
And it's been a lifelong mission?
No, since about 78.
What happened in 1978 that made you start?
I don't know.
Well, do you have any idea?
No, don't.
Do you do any hammering yourself?
Not really.
No?
Did you have any urge to today?
I can't find no hammer. This is the first old double Clawden that I got. You would start pulling a nail out like this, you know, and got it out that far, and then you get under here and pull it on out. That's a snow knocker hammer. That's a saddle iron hammer. This here one, the balls in there, springs behind them. You know what that is?
Yeah, Mr. Smart Guy.
That's a train hammer for the small brake handle on the left side of train cars. No, I don't know. What is that?
That's a buggy spring oiler.
Oh,
That's what I was gonna say.
yeah.
Second guess.
In this little town here, when people, their relatives come in to see them, there's not a whole lot to do, so they bring them over to the hammer shed. We've had them from Germany and even some boys from Poland. They was over at our church. They brought them over here. So I think we've got in our guest book probably 14 different states. It's 14, 15 that's been here.
Okay, so now I probably missed this, but what's the count on the hammers in here right now?
They'd be over 2,700. I know that. There's probably closer to 28, but I know there's over 27. I had that many a year or so ago.
What's the goal?
Need one more all the time.
Now, I'm not surprised those producers didn't know it, but even Glenn seemed unaware just how many hours of amusement a handful of hammers can provide. Note the form.
I'm always trying to put a new spin on the subject.
Reluctantly, we bid the Albrechts adieu, and after dining briefly in beautiful downtown Norborn, let fly down the highway towards Excelsior Springs. Passing by the famed Hall of Waters reminded us that all that free coffee has to go somewhere. Likewise, we looped quickly past the Elms Hotel, where Harry Truman was known to let off a little steam. It's a short hop from Excelsior to Kearney, famous for the Jesse James farmhouse, which we're not going to see, and to a lesser degree, Darrell the barber, who we are.
Oh God, you've got all your fingers, don't you, Darrell?
What do we want to do with this today, sir?
Oh, make it short.
Short?
Yeah.
You really want it short?
Oh, that's the sound of clippers, isn't it?
Yes, it is, sir.
Oh, I can't say I've heard that sound for a long time.
Yeah. I've been here about 21 years. I started out as a young man. I was expecting to cut hair until I found a real job, you know, and that was kind of, found out this was a real job,
That's
you know.
how I got into TV.
That's how you got into TV.
I guess it's witty repartee like that that makes a place like Darrell's pretty much the center of the universe in a small town. A one-stop shop where you can take a little off the top while getting the skinny on just about everything, including Kearney's once thriving Nativity Rock
know?
Museum.
The Melton place.
The Melton place?
Yeah.
Well, Claude Melton is a retired United Telephone employee. Worked for United Telephone for many years and retired from the telephone company. And he had a special zeal in which he thought that he could use his talents as a rock mason to put together a rock museum, basically telling the story of the life of Christ. And so when he started working on this project, it was confined to, I believe, the basement of the home. And then gradually it just grew and flourished until it gradually encompassed the yard, the house, and almost the living quarters as he kept expanding.
You can work half the night down here and go upstairs and go to bed and go to work the next day and come back and start over.
Yeah.
That's the way he's made, I guess, because he had quite a active brain as far as thinking things up.
I had so much to see down there. Years to work, you know, tedious work. But I had to do something more.
He could just think as fast as he's working, or more so.
But no art training.
No.
Artists are really seldom, I mean, he is an artist. This man has been an artist. You would have to describe him as an artist. And, but artists are seldom appreciated by the neighbors or by the guy next door. And so it's something sometimes that takes someone from a little distance off to really recognize and appreciate your talents.
He didn't need no advice. I don't think he would have taken it. No end to his imagination. There really wasn't nothing much he couldn't use.
His health is not quite as good as it once was, but he has given it everything he could for as many years as he could, but it has kind of fallen into disrepair now. But it's definitely a testimonial to his intentions.
You crowd it. You crowd your thoughts. You know, you have thoughts way down the line that you want to do. But I managed to do it. I always kept busy.
All right, are you ready to see this?
Oh, sure. I'm
All right,
very ready.
hang on, here we go. That's one of my better ones today. That's one of my better ones today.
Hey, are we gonna get to go to Minnesota?
No.
Well, it is a new day, but as you can see, we're still on some of the same old topics, having some of the same old navigational difficulties.
Okay, but I'm going past Mound City. Well,
Yeah, good.
guide me here, big fella.
At least thanks to Daryl the barber, half of us can say we are a sharper looking bunch.
Have you stopped to admire it pretty consistently?
No, but many people have said, what happened to your hair?
Now, this particular corner of the state is very big with the birds. At certain times of the year, people literally flock to Squaw Creek to ooh and ah over flocks of them. And like us, some no doubt stumble into the small towns nearby, like Craig, which we'd been made aware does contain a most unlikely retail combination.
This has got to be the place.
Yeah.
There can't be more than one undertaking and grocery store in a small town in this area, can there?
Let's hope not.
We get a lot of people off interstate that, off I-29, that just want to see the old store. There's not very many around anymore. We just put running water in it since we purchased it. It did not have running water till then. So we now have running water, and it's pretty much
does that mean
original.
I can have a cup of coffee while I'm here?
No, we don't have any coffee. We do have water.
Okay. Can't get a funeral, can't get a cup of coffee.
Suffering, you're
Right.
suffering.
We're kind of a glorified convenience store right now. We've got a little bit of everything we do, and we sell Longhorn beef, farm raised.
With no coffee, you're sort of an
With no
inconvenience.
coffee, that's true.
Aren't you kids supposed to be in school? What are you hiding back there for? Come on out of there. There's no hiding in TV. He shoots, he scores!
Would you like to flog Mike?
Now that would have made this a truly memorable stop, but Jeff politely declined and proceeded to give us a victimless demonstration. He also filled us in on some of the particulars of our van, which is more than Mike can say about whip technique.
I think I've learned enough.
Nice try.
Pull up, Rocky!
We also learned a little geography, that it's not so far to Rouleau, Nebraska, where catfish is king. With that rapidly rising river, though, I found myself thinking, it's not just lunch, it's an adventure.
We wouldn't be dumb enough to stay here if it wasn't safe.
How hungry am I?
I don't worry until it gets up to the windows, and then we'll all be out of here, right? I've seen a lot higher than this.
But maybe we'll get lucky and it'll flood between the time we're eating and the time the bill comes.
Possibility.
If that happens, do you get it?
Usually we, no, we'll catch you on the way out.
Oh, that's...
We'll follow you wherever you go.
That's what I was afraid.
You won't find better looking fish than that anywhere.
Nice.
It's just right
Oh, it's still flopping around.
Hey, did I hear more coffee?
Sure. You guys scare people off like this everywhere you go, or just here?
Is there a prize or anything for cleaning your fish?
We do have a way of clearing a room, or maybe it was that rising water. Either way, it was time to move on and start exploring a new state. When it comes to grassroots art, Nebraska is best known for a place way out west called Carhenge, which we won't be getting to. Here in the east, we've been hearing a lot about Nebraska City's Wyuka Cemetery, where an unusually high number of final resting places are, well, unusual.
Wow. God, I love this stone log look.
That's pretty cool. And they were barons of Nebraska City, right?
He was a Nebraska City pioneer and insurance salesman.
Yeah.
Harding sold the first insurance policy issued in the state of Nebraska. Look at the detail on this.
Pretty good. His desk
You want to just open the drawer.
His desk looked much like mine does.
Really fine carving going on here. Or is this a casting? It's not. That's sandstone, right?
Yeah.
Hourglass on the top.
Looks like the sands of time, all right?
Serves to remind the living of the urgency with which they should pursue righteousness. You might want to pay attention to that.
Someone who was born in 1813, and they were Chief Justice of the state of Nebraska. So you've got the Scales of Justice, and I suppose the Books of Wisdom.
And who was J. Sterling Morton?
The founder of Arbor Day.
The father of Arbor Day. I guess that's the same thing.
It's far more than your just basic cross or plaque. Someone really wanted to say something with this. I'm just not sure what they wanted to say. Penny, didn't you read about it?
Oh yeah, Esther J. Wife of N.R. Penny.
Oh, Mike, it's the one, it's the one.
She done what she could.
Pretty much sums it up, doesn't it?
Look at that. You could spend hours wandering around this place looking at the carvings alone. There's some really nice ones.
By now, you've probably noticed we do most of our wandering on the back roads and in small towns, but this would definitely be a big city street. And the big city, relatively speaking, would be Omaha. We've come here to meet Reese Crawford, who's been doing very well the last few years, making things out of, first, paper mache, and more recently, her own special recipe of glop, all without any formal training.
I have a sleeping disorder called sleep apnea. And so when I do go to sleep, it's only for a brief time, but I have some really strange dreams. And I usually jump up in the middle of the night, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and start creating. And I won't go back to bed, and I'll stay up. Sometimes I stay up for 72 hours straight without sleep. I started out doing it as being selfish, to create things for my home. But then my sisters and their friends were coming over and I would go, oh, I like that, where'd you get it? I made it. I want one. It's called If They Could Grow Up to Be Men, and it represents the gangs, the Bloods, the Crips, and the Vice Lords. And this is supposed to be a positive black role model. Slave to the times. No matter what you do in life, regardless whether you have your own niche or whatever, you're still a slave to somebody else. You are what you drink. I swear that these things party in my house when I'm gone. It's like they're partying, and when they hear me stick the key in the door, it's like they freeze in position. Because everything I make is usually totally standing vertical, right? And then next thing you know, it might be leaning this way, or the arm goes this way, or something strange. I even had one that did the limbo. Everything I use is recycled paper. And the funny thing about this, Offutt Air Force Base, these are all their top secret military documents that they pulverized.
So do other artists come up to you and say, you're the only one making things like this?
They go like, wow, how'd you do that? How'd you come up with that? And I go, trial and error in the kitchen. And I've had people say, well, why don't you go to school? I go, I gotta go to school for this, I'll quit. It will be boring. Some of the things that I do may be unorthodox to others, but it gets me over, it gets me in where I fit in, so I just do what I gotta do with what I got.
Are you a good cook too? Because, I mean, this is the kind of thing it seems like you had to experiment with in the kitchen over and over.
Oh,
Makes me
yeah.
wonder if you're...
Oh, yeah.
I thought Mike was
As-
inviting himself over.
I'm trying to get an invite over for dinner, so...
As my sons and my husband say, I can throw down.
Speaking of food, it has not escaped this hard-working, industrious camera guy's notice that this part of town does contain a number of fine dining possibilities. However, my enthusiasm may not be shared.
But over there, there's an Indian restaurant, there's a French restaurant,
They look good, I agree.
Cajun restaurant.
Look, the map tells no lies. We got 45 minutes till we get to Albert's the Bull, and we're gonna do it. I'm sorry, man. Buy some chips.
Talk
Chips in
about
the car, come on.
talk about bull.
Oh, Lord. What is that smell? What? Oh, God. It's a huge bull.
It's got nice eyelashes.
No kidding.
It was worth it, wasn't it?
Whoa, big bull!
It's bad enough I have to watch all this frivolity on an empty stomach, but as a practicing vegetarian, I'd say that leaving the promise of Omaha behind for Albert the Bull has doubled my disappointment.
You getting hungry? What do you want to eat tonight? Hey, how about a baked potato and a grilled cheese, huh?
So who left the half-eaten donut on the cooler? It's not a cooler.
I have to admit that waking up on a beautiful morning makes everything better, and this day is dawning with the best of them. We've lodged in Fort Dodge, then set out across the fertile fields of Iowa towards one of the holy grails of grassroots art, the Grotto of the Redemption in West Bend. But even the most passionate of pilgrims does need to get out and occasionally stretch their legs and throwing arms.
Fly ball.
It's not quite the field of dreams, but then again, we're not ready for that anyway.
Oh, no. Oh.
Whatever you were thinking about Minnesota. Gone.
Now, a grotto usually has something to do with a cave, which you often find in some hills, and pretty as it might be, this part of Iowa has very little of either. So you can see why, when the late Father Doberstein started building all this out here anyway, some called it the eighth wonder of the world.
Yes, we're in the corn stalks here of Iowa, and maybe that's why it was built here. For whatever reason, the Lord let him here. Father Doberstein migrated from Germany as a young man. He was stricken with double pneumonia. And in those days, double pneumonia often was fatal, and they feared for his life. And so in his illness, he prayed to Mary, the Mother of God, for her intercession for the grace of health. And he promised that if he was to receive health, he would build a grotto sometime in his life in her honor. This was the start. Inside the grotto there, in that room there, was the first grotto he built.
He could have stopped right there. He didn't.
He didn't. He apparently had received so much support and encouragement when he built that grotto that he spent the rest of his life then here telling the entire story of our redemption. We get a lot of rock clubs coming through. In the 50s, there was an estimate, tried to establish an estimate of the grotto geological value, which was placed something over $2.5 million at that time. In the inside of that grotto is the grotto of the Ten Commandments. There's a statue there of Moses with the stone slate he received at Mount Sinai. That grotto below there with the angel, again, that's all petrified wood. It comes from the forest or the border of North Dakota and Montana. Of course, the 13th station with the cross there to the south.
You don't ever have any cameramen fall off of here, do you?
We haven't lately.
I just want to capture it and to show it to all my friends in California. I say the grotto, and they kind of tilt their head and look at me, and what is that? After this, it's Lake Okoboji.
We had just started through here, and This is wonderful. And the colors are just great.
Does the story stuff always have to come through, or can you just revel in the rocks?
Oh, I think people come here for both reasons. I think some marvel at the artistic design, and we marvel at the rocks formation and the value of the rocks. Others relate it, and Father Doberstein used rocks because he said that they would basically stay in place forever, or tell the story forever. Some years ago, Walt Disney sent a man up here to look at the grotto, thinking about duplicating it. And his man went back and told Walt Disney that it could never be done. So that says something about Father Doberstein's ability.
In later years, Father Doberstein was ably assisted by Father Graving, who was in fact responsible for what looks to be our world's ninth wonder, the gift shop.
I'm very big on the Viewmaster experience.
Viewmasters, cool.
Do you have anything in 3D?
Your report card.
We're going to see it for the rest of the trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sold on the
Sold
counter.
on the counter. Well, you could just about start your own church with all the stuff in here.
Not that we were planning on that, but it's always inspiring to see what one man can do with nothing more than rocks and desire.
So many people, you know, they hear about the grotto. They have no vision as to what they're going to find when they get here.
I've seen pictures in books and it didn't do it justice.
It's very hard. I'm sure your cameraman will capture everything here, but he'll be the first one.
I like his confidence, but it still may call for a miracle. This is Don the Cameraman signing off.
If you wouldn't mind, I'll take a nap in the back seat and you can drive for a little while.
I'm not sure I can drive anymore. It's been so long since I've driven.
You be careful.
Hey, safety is my middle name.
You might get a fast start.
Sorry, boss.
Mike, don't follow too closely.
Okay, whatever you say. You see what I see?
I think, Minnesota.
Minnesota. Let's do it.
To learn more about the sights you've seen on this program, you can order the companion book to the series Rare Visions and Roadside Revelations by calling the number on your screen.